Hello everybody, before this video gets started, I want to let you guys know that we have restarted the Descent into Madness podcast. If any of you astute viewers have ever looked in the description, you would have noticed how that link has always been there by default. We just posted a new episode last week. Feel free to go in the description, click below, and enjoy the video. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another commentary. Today I want to talk about something that has been on my mind, and I've been seeing some other creators go ahead and mention it. And it's about this current console generation. Did it even happen? Is it even real? Is this even a console generation? I think the fact that these are called next-gen consoles is an utter lie. Now, why is that? Because we're still producing games for over 10-year-old systems at this point. The PS4 and Xbox One launched in 2013. It is 2025. They are turning 12 years old this year. I believe in October is when the PS4 turns 12, and we're still producing games for it. Now, if this was back in 2020, I would understand that the consoles came out and it was mid-pandemic, there's supply chain issues, and now, it was, no one could get the PlayStation. Sure, why not? Well, we'll keep making games for the old school PS4 because that was, what people had. But now we're at a point where I'm seeing PS5s used in glass cases in my local game store, my mom and pop shop. Hell, you can find them on the shelves at Walmart. At this point, if you don't have a PS5, I'm sorry. I don't want to disparage anyone in other financial situations. I'm going through a bit of financial hardship on my own right now, and I know if I didn't already have one, I wouldn't be able to afford one as of now. But there's a point where you have to just accept that you're on the console generation behind. There's people out there that still play 360 because they can't afford new consoles. They can't even afford PS4s, because 360 is something that their uncle gave them or whatnot, or they found at a garage sale. And that's just what they're able to afford. And you don't see people going to, why aren't they making games for the 360 anymore? Why aren't they making games for PS3? It's just insane. And because of that, games are still suffering from last generation. This is no longer, current gen, PS4, Xbox One. That's last generation. These consoles have been the old gen going on 5 years now. This is supposed to be, at this point, there's not supposed to be any games. Black Ops 3 was one of the last major AAA titles to ever release on the 360. And that was in 2015. That was 2 years after the Xbox One released. And it is that's in my opinion, a good bleed over date to give you time to transition. Now we're at the point where we're 5 years in and the new COD is still coming out on PS4 and Xbox One, and you cannot look me straight in the face and tell me that it's an equal experience playing Black Ops 6 on the original Xbox One and PS4. Hell, even a PS4 Pro, it's kind of a struggle. And Xbox One X. I almost called it Series X because, Xbox's dumbass naming convention. So, there's graphical downgrades, there's frame rate issues, and because those consoles are still receiving major titles, developers are not able to spend as much time investing in current gen hardware. Now, I know times have changed, but to give example, back in the day, there was no mid-gen refresh, such as PS4 Pro, Xbox One X, and PS5 Pro. It was that was how the console was. Let's take a look at the 360 era. If you take a game, let's do Gears of War, a first-party game that should have the console looking its best. When the game came out in 2006, the first Gears of War, everyone was floored. Like, oh my gosh, this thing looks amazing. My dad likes to tell me about how just there was nothing like it. That was the next generation right there. That was HD seen for the first time. And then we skip all the way to, I think it's 2011 or 2012, when Gears of War 3 comes out. You put those games side by side, there's a graphical difference of a mile. It looks different. It looks real. Gears of War 3 looks so good compared to Gears of War 1, even though it's running on the exact same hardware as in 2006. Now, the reason for that is because developers get time to really get to know the hardware, learn its weird quirks and features, and kind of get to optimize around it. Take a look at Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 looks way better graphically than Call of Duty 4, even though it came out on the same generation of hardware. Now, the most recent game that I can come up with that is suffering this issue is new Doom. Doom the Dark Ages. Now, Doom the Dark Ages on its own, amazing game. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed my time in that. But we're talking about pure graphic fidelity here. I had just gotten done beating Doom Eternal for the very first time 3 days, or not even 3 days. I started it 3 days before Doom the Dark Ages came out, and I had beaten Doom Eternal all of 5 hours before Dark Ages released. And on my Xbox Series X, I have a 120 hertz TV, an LG OLED display, and so I have the opportunity to turn on 120 FPS mode on the console. Now, there is always, it's not the same as computer. You can't run full ray tracing at 120 FPS, though I'm sure it could because Doom is one of those hellaciously optimized games. But the game looks stunning at 120 FPS. With that high of a refresh rate, it's amazing. The graphics were good, the shading was amazing, the textures. Now, usually when I have this 120 hertz display, my first thing I do when I install a new game is to go into the settings and see if they have a refresh rate mode, or at least kick it into prioritize performance, because there is a caveat to having these high refresh displays, is that when you have a game that is not running at a high refresh rate, such as most games in the quality mode run at 30 FPS, you really feel that 30 FPS. Now, 30 FPS in general feels like dookie now because, I mean, hell, the first Destiny ran at 30 FPS. It felt like nothing then. Try going back and playing it now. Tell me you can't feel it. But it is, so I have to kick that over. And I noticed there was no option at all for any sort of graphics modes in Dark Ages. I'm like, okay, so maybe they took, they had this time to, to a couple years to really hammer out how we're going to play in 120 FPS with a bit of ray tracing. Cool. I get on the game, and though it does look good, the game graphically does look good, but you can just see that there's a slight haze over the gun texture and this little tiny bit of anti-aliasing that isn't there. You can just see the difference, whereas it's almost like putting a slight thin saran wrap layer over the TV playing Doom the Dark Ages versus Eternal. Now, the only reason I was able to notice this is because I had literally just got off Eternal hours before. And to me, that's mind-boggling because Eternal came out... Here, let me do a quick search. Doom Eternal released on March 20th, 2020, before this Xbox Series X and PS5 even launched. So, what is the excuse to have 5 years down the line and the games aren't looking better, they're progressively looking worse? It's almost like they're following the PC architecture where it's, oh, I bought this cream of the crop awesome PC 5 years ago. It's not going to run the newest Battlefield game at max settings like it ran the newest Battlefield game back then. And that was always the benefit of owning a console. Owning a console over a PC was that you knew that the developers were there to take care of you, that you didn't have to worry about it. You were going to get the best experience possible for your hardware, and all you had to do was relax on your couch and turn on the controller. Well, now it's getting to the point where I'm considering moving my freaking computer over there to actually enjoy these games at full spec. Now, will they actually run? That's a different question for a different video because of the Unreal Engine epidemic, and the Unreal Engine is a hellaciously horribly optimized engine. Anyway, and the major reason I think it is that they are struggling is they have had no support from Microsoft or any other developer to help them with the optimizations in pushing this current hardware to its limit. Because every other developer is stuck developing for the old generation of hardware that they are no longer able to dedicate any sort of time to current gen hardware. And that also brings me to the next point, current gen. Is this even a next generation? Because let's be honest, there was always a big leap between generation to generation. I was waiting for this generational leap to go from Xbox One to Series X. And yes, there is games that are like, oh yeah, this looks pretty good. You know, going back and re-downloading Battlefield 4 on the console that plays the Xbox One version, oh, okay, yeah, it does look a little dookie compared to, you know, Battlefield 2042 that, you know, is a modern title. But there's not that wow factor. And the biggest thing I can think of that we're not even going to see for another 2 years or so, and God delay it, please, if it needs it, is that Unreal Engine Witcher game. In The Witcher 4, I don't think we're going to see that wow factor in console gaming until that drops, and that is such a worrisome game for me, because will the consoles even be able to handle it? Now, they say that this was recorded on PS5 or PS5 Pro or whatever, some of the gameplay that they came out with, but you know that is a pre-developed game, and that was shown for the Unreal Days or the Unreal Engine Showcase. I don't remember what they call it. So that was a heavily optimized, very scrupulously developed portion of the game to show off. Now, I'm guessing The Witcher 4, if I had to take a guess, isn't going to be 2 hours long. I'm guessing it's going to be one of those games where it's going to take 50 hours to complete to its fullest, which I am so okay with. But you're telling me, and I would love it, I would love to be proved wrong, that every single hour of that game has that level of polish to look that good and run that good? Or is it going to come out and we're going to be locked with a 30 FPS mode of quality mode, or everything's going to get a nice big layer of Vaseline and the textures on the ground are going to be made of clay to get a uncapped 30 FPS mode, and we'll be lucky to get 60 FPS out of it? Because that's the other thing. There is some games that, oh yeah, it's, you know, they're calling it versus, oh, it's not 120 mode, it's not 60 FPS mode, it's uncapped mode. That means that they cannot guarantee the performance of the console. They cannot guarantee that it's going to hit 60 FPS. They cannot guarantee that it's going to get 120. That means that it's, yeah, we don't know where our game's going to sit. We know it'll be above 30 FPS, but exactly where depends what you're doing when you're doing it. Now, I get it. Even computers, even my 4090 in a game that I'm playing, and all of a sudden 8,000 explosions go down, you see the FPS drop. But that's also a difference between it's running 140 FPS and drops down to 120. Now, I'd trade all of that to get a guaranteed, like, 60. It's amazing to me that 60 FPS is in the standard of gaming. Now, Microsoft and PlayStation are saying that they're going to come out with their next generation, their new consoles, and I am just afraid. We're supposed to see something, some sort of announcement this year with Microsoft. We just saw a video of them coming out saying they're partnering with AMD, and that raises some eyebrows of, all right, well, does that mean that this is going to be running Radeon graphics? Are we going to, you know, fully run into, you know, is this Xbox going to run the Ryzen architecture? And that also brings up another point, which I plan on making another video about. Is there even a point in owning anything but an Xbox for your console gaming, or should you just build a PC, Steam Big Picture mode's getting real handy, and attach it to your entertainment system? We're in a weird time, folks, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen, but this generation was an utter fart in the wind. I don't think that these should have been called the Series X and PS5. These should have just been mid-console refreshes. These should have been where the PS4 and X Pro and Xbox One X should have been. I think they should have just waited a little bit longer to release the mid-console refresh of last gen. And if they were so planning on hanging on to this console generation as far as they have, we should have just called these PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. Because there is the only difference between any of the consoles, besides, technically it's graphic fidelity, but besides games that are coming out on it, is the PS5 has a unique interface, which I do appreciate that they did, but it is still heavily inspired to the PS4 interface. But the Xbox, there's no difference. You can turn on an Xbox, and usually Xboxes, when you turn them on, every console actually, you can tell by the home screen of what it is. But an Xbox One and an Xbox Series X, by looking at the home screen, you'd have no clue. It's the exact same. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. Let me know what you think about this generation. Have you been satisfied? Have you been entertained? What do you think of the games that have been coming out? And look forward to a new video coming out where I want to kind of do a little retrospective on Xbox and kind of focus in more where they're going, because Xbox is in a unique spot. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.